Hi, this is Nicole Roberts-Jones, and welcome to Amplify Your Brilliance. What I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is where I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. And I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your business, your career, but in your life. Also, make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. Go to thebrilliancetribe.com. Now grab your pen as we begin today's session of Amplify Your Brilliance. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Amplify Your Brilliance. So I'm excited to introduce today Miss Cecilia Nelson-Hurt. Now, Cecilia is the Assistant Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion for L'Oreal USA. And I can tell you so much about her role there, but one of her most valued initiatives involves developing and empowering the future generation of leaders through her engagement and support of the New York Coalition of 100 Black Women's Role Model Week and the New York Urban League's Empowerment Days for young men and women. So you can see her role extends beyond just L'Oreal. Now, she's also an advisory board member of Black Women of Influence, which is where I met her. And she serves on the boards of YouthBridge NY and the Vogue Knitting Diversity Advisory Council. So I could go on and on, but let's get this conversation started. Hey, Miss Cecilia.
Hey, lovely. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. No complaints. No complaints.
Right. At least not today, right?
Not today.
In this moment.
Not today. Exactly. We don't have time for that. That's wasted time.
So tell us, knowing you like I do, and you're always so excited and passionate and bring purpose to your everything you do. Tell us about your ability to grow in your career. Like, did you start knowing you wanted to work in diversity and inclusion, and how did you get there?
Now I'm at the age where I can look back, right? It's really, and again, I'm not saying that I'm done, right? So I'm not looking back from that perspective, but I'm in the middle and looking at where I am and how far I came from where I started and realize the happenstance and the notion of staying ready so you don't have to get ready, right? And so I love this question because one thing that I'm very transparent and honest about is I don't like to put structure where structure wasn't, right? And so what that means is, there are plenty of people who have achieved a certain level or they're at a certain function or role, and when you ask them how to get to where they are, they want to give you structure. So you have to do this and go do this and get your MBA and volunteer. And they might have this whole list of these check boxes that you need to do. But then when you ask them, how did they get there? It was, I was in the right place at the right time and I knew someone. And so that is really, for me, I realized that I've always had a lens to the diversity from when I first went through the analyst program at JP Morgan, right? At JP Morgan Chase. I was in a marketing role there, and then I moved into a campus recruiting role where I was marketing opportunities for JP Morgan on campus. And in that role, I'm the person coordinating the corporate representation at this college and campus. And so I'm responsible for the ad, responsible for the website, the brochure, the collateral, everything. And when you do those sorts of roles, up until time for your event at 6 p.m., you're on campus and you have all this extra time, right? And so what I started doing, the other teams would come, so the investment bank and credit card and retail, and they would be interviewing students during the day. And then they would invite people to our network reception during the evening. And so I'm like, well, can you teach me how to interview so I could be of service? And then, so the first time I did this, I was at Spelman. And then we went to Morehouse, and then we went to Howard, and we went to Columbia, and we went to Cornell and all the other schools. But I really was very interested in how can I connect with students who I have something other than just our interest in the company in common. And then I realized that, it mattered to me how many of those students from Howard or Spelman or FAMU got accepted into the bank.
Right.
So that's when I realized, again, I care about diversity recruiting, but I didn't know it was a thing.
And then really what you did was you went by what you cared about and you started focusing on that. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
It was my passion. And it was, being fully transparent. My family's from Panama.
Mm-hmm.
I was, my mom, my dad, and my grandmother all worked in hospitals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have anyone in my immediate circle who even went to an HBCU, or for that matter, how many people who graduated from college. So I was the first person in my lineage to graduate from college. Right. And so I went to Pace University because I live in New York, and, you live in New York, you're like, okay, I'm either going to go to Columbia or NYU, Pace, what are the schools?
Right.
And so I went to Pace, and being transparent, when my guidance counselor in high school said, oh, have you thought about going to a historical Black college or university? Because I didn't know anybody.
Right.
I thought he was trying to exclude me.
Me too,
from
girl.
going.
Right.
And so I kind of felt like, again, please, I wish I went to HBCU right now.
Me too.
In that moment, I was like, how dare you just pigeonhole me to this historical Black thing, right?
Right.
What I didn't know, there was no Different World and Cosby Show at that point. There wasn't School Days.
Right.
There wasn't anything to glamorize to teach me that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he said that to me, I was a little offended.
Right.
Because I didn't know.
Right. How dare you put me in a box? So you trying to tell me I can only go to school with Black people? Right.
How dare you limit
Which is nothing wrong with that. Look, for all of our HBCU listeners, look, every year, look, all of my best girlfriends went to Howard. Now, let me tell y'all a real quick story. I tried to transfer to Howard my second year. My mother was like, you better sit your butt down somewhere, right? So that was after I knew better. But here's the thing. I didn't know better before. I didn't know what was possible. I didn't know all the bonding and camaraderie. I didn't know all the teachers that would support you. I just thought people were trying to pigeonhole me. So I get it.
Yeah. So trust me, just having the privilege of going back as a recruiter, just opened my eyes, and I got to see the bond. I got to see the connections, and then I saw it play out as they came to JP Morgan, right? And then, all the so at the time, Kim Davis was at JP Morgan, and she would host a summer soiree for the Spelman ladies who were interning not only at the bank, but in town. And so so she brought all the other Spelmanites, and I'm like, oh, I love this sisterhood. And again, being an only child, right? So there's another thing that I missed out on. But everything happens in the way it's supposed to happen.
Me too. I'm an only child too. What else you gonna say we have in common on this?
Listen. Besides the hyphenated names.
Okay.
The hyphenated ladies over here. So, I fell in love with the HBCU experience. I even fell in love with, going to NYU and going to Columbia and connecting with the Black Students Union and the Black Finance Club. That's what I joined at Pace. So now I have this passion. I'm learning how to interview, and I'm learning how to assess talent. And at the same time, JP Morgan, Chase now, because I started with Chase, merged with JP Morgan and their affinity group. I went to an event held by their affinity group, and it was like, oh, I have a voice. And I started speaking up, and little did, in a matter of months, my close friend and I, we ended up joining the leadership of that affinity group.
Right.
So now I'm responsible for executing events targeted at Black employees.
And what's so interesting, and I have to stop because you didn't even try become a part of that group to become the leader of the group.
No, I just had opinions.
Right.
Like, well, we should do this, and we should get that leader to speak. Because again, I went through the analyst program, so I think I know how it should be done. And thank goodness they were open to the ideas. And so, my friends and I, we joined in a leadership capacity. We now started to get additional exposure to Black leaders at JP Morgan. And this was pre-Valerie Rainford at the time. And that's actually how I met Valerie when she joined.
And those of you that don't know who Valerie is, she was a guest in our first season. So go back and listen. Valerie Rainford, right?
Valerie. Okay. She drops gems, right?
Right.
And so now I'm learning about diversity recruiting. I am learning about running an affinity group and doing events, and I'm speaking to employees. And so events are cultural. They're also educational. And then they're also, how can we tie this back to the business?
Right.
So that was like my JP Morgan side hustle. And so, again, doing the marketing role led them to see that, okay, Cecilia is really passionate about this. And we have an opportunity for somebody to come on and be a diversity relationship manager and manage the relationships at Spelman, FAMU, Howard, and Morehouse, as well as manage the endowment. So who should get our scholarship money during the year? I'm working with all of the functions to help them close the deal with their interns. I'm managing at Howard, the School of Business. I'm the JP Morgan face. And so I'm just really loving what I'm doing. So I'm doing diversity relationship and MBA recruiting.
And I got to stop you for a second, because I want you guys to get that one thing led to the next, but you were looking for the next, not in the way that it was coming.
No, it just, again, it's, being prepared, right? So the fact that I had spent and I'm using the air quotes for free time, because it really wasn't that free, but the fact that I spent my free time on campus, shadowing people as they were interviewing, learning how to interview. And then every chance I got to sit in on an interview or to conduct an interview, I took advantage of it.
That's good.
So that when it came time, and then I was also doing events and doing different events, because my work in the affinity group and my work in my other roles taught me how to do events and how to market events and so forth. When I moved into the campus role, I knew how to do events. And so I also was given the responsibility of JP Morgan's attendance at National Black MBA and National Hispanic MBA. So all these diversity things.
What's interesting is, as you're talking, what is coming in my mind, and I'm pausing here because I want you guys to get this. Now, I was at an event probably about a month ago, and one of the examples I like to use is Michelle Obama in her book Becoming talks about the fact that, now this is not related, but roll with me because at the end of it is related, right? She talks about in her book Becoming that, she was great at being a lawyer and she hated it. Now I'm giving you the condensed version. If you didn't read the book, spoiler alert, right? So then she says, but she has spent so much time being a lawyer, she didn't know what she wanted next. So I'm talking about this as at an event, and a woman then says to me, she raises her hand and says, so Nicole, do you think that Michelle Obama going to law school was a waste? And here's my answer. The Bible verse says all things work together, not some, all not things. A few, all things. And what's interesting, even listening to your story, as how all these things, now she's at this side of the journey. She's not done yet, right? Because there's next. I know part of that next, right? But listen, as she's gone through her whole career trajectory, how all these things, volunteers, staying extra, learning this, sitting on campus, sitting in on interviews, all those things have worked together for you now to be the assistant vice president, right? Am I saying the right title? Of diversity and inclusion. I'm good for giving people different titles. The assistant vice president of diversity and inclusion at L'Oreal. And so even with where you are right now, Cecilia, which is all so yummy. And mind you, she has so much more she could talk about with her journey to here. But I want to hear what's next. I want to hear, there's more in you. We're going to stop here and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for more. Have you realized that you've been building someone else's $1 billion brand? And there's a $1 billion brand in you. And I wonder if you even know that you can begin your business now without letting go of your paycheck. And see, that's why I wrote my free ebook alongside my 9-to-5. So go grab your copy at alongsidemy9to5.com. By the way, that's the number 9 and the number 5. Alongsidemy9to5.com. See, most people tell you to quit to begin your business. And what I know for sure is that's setting you up for failure. Why? Because even if you've saved a year's salary, you've got to spend money to make money. And so the wisest choice you can ever make is to begin to build your business alongside that 9-to-5. Listen, I created the ebook alongside my 9to5.com to give you all the insight you need to start and plan your business with grace and ease. Because who wants to hustle? See, I want to teach you how to make money while you sleep. Yes, you can generate income while you're sitting in your office, even while you're conducting a meeting. See, you can be doing all of that and your business can and will generate revenue for you. So go grab your copy alongside your 9to5.com. Well, before we start talking about what's next, let's talk about even in your career along the path, whether it's where you are now, whether it's been in the journey. When did you know? When was there a time when you knew there was more for you to do?
Oh, wow. There's so many opportunities. So many. So, even in my journey here at L'Oreal, and I've been with L'Oreal now for 11 years,
mm-hmm.
and the constant becoming mm-hmm. and evolution and the climate, right? And so I realized that there was more for me to do because the climate, the culture, the society needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at, I stepped into a role that already had existed, but the climate and what our employees are asking for was so much more.
Mm.
And so what I appreciate about when I moved into diversity here at L'Oreal, now I got to bring all of that forward. I got
mm-hmm.
to bring my affinity group, because now
mm-hmm.
here I started 2 affinity groups.
Right.
I got to, and so having managed the affinity group at JP Morgan, now I understand what an affinity group could look like, right? So what an employee resource group could look like,
mm-hmm.
Because I sat on different boards in the community, not-for-profits. Mm-hmm. Now I manage them.
Mm-hmm.
I manage our relationship, right? And so
mm-hmm.
I realized that there was more when I realized that nothing was wasted.
Yes.
That everything made sense. And that's why I started by saying, looking back,
mm-hmm.
right? Because as you're going through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, well, I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm achieving these goals. I'm taking this class because it's necessary. And then at some point you're like, oh, wait, I can draw upon that. I can draw upon my network, because the network that I had been curating and building, when I moved into the diversity role, I realized how many of my friends who were also in D&I roles.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, so I can tap out. So I can send a text message to 5 people on, does anybody have the Starbucks training content? And 3 people are like, yeah, here you go. Right. And so,
right. But all that was cultivated, not knowing you were going to get here, right?
Right. And so it's cultivating. And so right now, present day, I kind of sit in 2 spaces, and that's another happenstance, right? So I sit in my diversity work that I do for L'Oreal. So advancing diversity and inclusion at L'Oreal, front and center, right? That's my responsibility.
Right.
I'm also, as anyone, who knows me knows, I'm a passionate hobbyist, right? So I'm a knitter.
Yes.
Right. And so
there's Black women that knit, y'all. There's Black women that knit.
And that's part of the conversation, right? So I travel the world. I go to yarn events. I go to yarn shops. And then,
and let me tell you guys, if you ever see Cecilia out, ask her to see it, because it's always in her purse. Whatever she's working on is always in her purse.
It's never far.
Right.
And so right now in 2019, there's a big conversation about the lack of diversity in the knitting industry. So when you think about an industry, there are all of the areas, right? So in the stores, in the events, in the magazines. And so I started speaking about diversity because that's what I do.
Right.
And I also happen to be a knitter. So the conversion of these 2 topics have created this new path for me.
Wow.
And so when you say, when did I realize that there was more? If you would have spoke to me on January 2nd and said, Cecilia, what are you going to be doing for this year? I would have been talking about work, and I would have said, I want to take some classes. If you would have said, oh, Cecilia, you're going to be traveling to yarn events and hosting conversations around the diversity in knitting, I would have been like, how?
Right. Right.
I didn't see it. And so, and the fact that, that there are other people in the conversation and we all have something to bring to it. We all have some value to add, but I'm carving out this space where I'm able to contribute my voice. And so to your point about realizing that there was more, I had no idea.
Right.
Right. And so, and so I have to remain in a posture. And this is where your faith really, for me, faith really plays a part in it, because my prayer when I joined the conversation was, okay, God, what would you want me to do? What would you have me do? What I'm going to trust that the doors that are open are the doors that you want me to walk through. the opportunities that are presented or the opportunities that you want me to take advantage of.
And look, and I'm going to interrupt that because let me tell you, when she said that prayer, you had no idea. Now, I don't know when you said that prayer, but I remember when, now mind you, I've known Cecilia probably for a good 2 years now. And usually, you know, we're chit-chatting, socially, but she said, girl, I need to talk to you. So I'm thinking it's all back Women of Influence. I'm thinking, oh, it's something L'Oreal. She's like, girl, this is a whole knitting community and people are starting to email me. And right. And how many emails had you gotten from one conversation?
Goodness. I've lost track.
Right.
It's been
thousands when I saw you, when you were like, oh my
comments
God.
And people are reaching out. And so the opportunity was for me to step into this space in a way that I didn't see. Right. And I also had to find my voice and I also had to not play small.
Ooh, wait, stop right there. Because somebody just needed to hear that. Finding your voice. Now, what's so interesting with that, and all of us do this, we discount our greatness. We don't realize how powerful, impactful, and brilliant we are. And because of that, when people start coming to you and they're asking you to tap into your brilliance, I was like, excuse me, Cecilia, girl, are you giving that away for free? No, ma'am. Right.
Right.
And I'm only sharing that, not to put your business in the street, but I'm only sharing that because all of us do it. So listen, ladies that are listening to my voice, this is your permission to no longer do
there's
it.
Value. There's value. Right. And so, and so the beauty of the alignment, right, is passion and purpose and paycheck. Right. I'm passionate about it. It's clearly aligned with my purpose to make a difference, my purpose to create a world that's more inclusive, more understanding. And people see value in that and are willing to supplement that, right?
And so the value you get back, and the value that you get back is that they pay you for it. What's interesting is so many women feel guilty because you feel like, oh, well, this is effortless for me. I've been doing this for years. I could just talk to people, and I'm sharing this with you. I'm talking to Cecilia, but I'm talking to all of you that are listening because I did it for years. As someone that worked in TV and film production, and then I went into social work. And yes, I'm a social worker for those of you that don't know. So it's the blending of two, production and social work, that makes me who I am, to be honest. But I discounted it because it's effortless for me. We all do it until you realize, no, this is your brilliance. This is the way God put you on this earth to serve. This is how he crafted you. And when you're bold enough to say, so let me tell you how much that cost. Right. Yeah. In Malcolm Gladwell's book, I'm going to say this and I'll be hush. In Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, he talks about, and I think it's in chapter 2, about mastery. About mastering your gift. And so I want to just drop this and I want y'all to think about this. How much is your time worth? How much is your time worth? And you give it away for free because you discount it.
Yeah, no, you're so, well, see, it's a combination of things, right? You discount it, and then we all have that little person that sits on our shoulder.
Yes.
That is whispering doubt, is whispering imposter syndrome. Is like, well, why would they pay you? Right. And what makes your point of view so valuable? And we doubt, and that's where I talk about playing small.
Yes.
Right. Because then you're like, well, what can I contribute?
Right.
What can I add? Right. And then it's not until we step out and we step into it that we realize, oh, wait, you know what? There, again, like I said, there are other voices, not to discount anyone else, but everyone brings something different to it. And so,
And the thing that's interesting is when you think about it, the people that are coming to you are coming to you. So you making me get excited. I'm a hush. Cause this is, you guys, those of you that haven't been around me, this is what I teach. So I'm getting excited. So listen, the people that are coming to you because they feel aligned with you. And dare I say, they're assigned to you. So there are tons of people that teach what I teach and what Cecilia teaches and what everybody on this earth teaches. But here's an example I always say. My dentist. Now, those of you that don't know me, I'm a light-skinned African-American woman. I'm from South Central LA, so I'm a little hood-ish sometimes, okay? So I'm only saying that because I'm always saying I'm a hood with a master's degree, so I'm a little bit of both, right? So anyway, my dentist is a white Jewish woman. She's 65. When I go get my teeth done, we talk love and hip hop. Now, don't judge me. Yes, I do watch. Well, I haven't watched it in a while, but I used to watch it all the time. But I'm only saying that because I love her, because we laugh at the craziness. And that makes her uniquely right for me. Like she talks to my husband about Game of Thrones. They have their own relationship. So when we both come back from Dr. Lombardo's, we both have had a great time because that's who she be as a dentist. So understand that when you're doing the thing you do, like Cecilia, there's so many people coming to her, to you right now and talking to you about diversity and inclusion because nobody's doing it in the knitting industry the way that Cecilia can do it.
Right.
So
right.
good.
And again, staying true and staying I'm humble, right? I acknowledge that there's room for all.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I acknowledge that, there are other voices, there are other perspectives. My role is that I'm a teacher, right?
Yep,
and so I realize that I'm a teacher even if I'm not teaching.
Right.
So
you're not trying to, but you teach anyway.
I'm not trying to, but you know what? Let me show you this. Let me tell you, let me help you in any way that
because she's been trying to talk me into knitting. I'm like, girl, sit down somewhere. At some point I probably will. Right.
I'm just listen, and I'm also patient. So you'll come around. I'm not worried about it. But the past 10 months have been an incredible awakening, an incredible journey. And it's again, because you don't know what's next, right? And it's great to, again, and that's the point of staying ready so you don't have to get ready. Right. And so being constantly keeping up in what you need to keep up with, read, whatever you never get stagnant, right? You always want to be growing. You always want to evolve. Right. And with that, when opportunities come, you're like, oh, wait, I've been doing this already. Right. And so because at one point I had a debilitating fear of public speaking. You couldn't pay me to stand up and speak. Right. No, I mean, I could work a room, right? Because I'm an extrovert. But the second we had to shift the dynamics, I needed to stand and teach. The imposter says, well, who are you to teach?
Yes, me too, girl.
You don't know it all. People are looking to you and you're not even fully there yet. But again, you can always teach somebody something. And so what I've learned over the past few years is how much I do know, right? I don't know it all, right? I'm still educating myself and learning, but there is something that I can give back and being comfortable with that. And also just taking the pressure off of myself to know it all. And so a lot of that fear was the fear to have all the answers. Right. And that's a lot of pressure. And so again, like if I look back to when I was taking Own the Room and reading everything on TED Talks and how to be a comfortable speaker and just taking it in, like what makes a good speaker, I didn't realize that I was on my journey to becoming a good storyteller. And I had been telling stories my whole life. Right. I'm an only child. So I've been entertaining
yourself the whole life.
To listen. Exactly. Anyone. Barbie dolls, person on the bus, person on the train. But all of that comes into, and then all of a sudden, one day you get to a point where you're like, I can draw upon that experience.
Yes. That's so good.
And again, I'm enjoying this journey. I'm so excited to run to 2020 to see what that'll bring. Yes. But the one thing that I know is that I am open to whatever comes.
Yes. So I think the greatest lesson for me from listening to you is be open to possibilities, because you never know what's next. And it's really being open to possibilities. And what that looks like is staying educated and being curious and letting yourself run with the curiosity. Because again, had you not done that on campus, had you not done that in every role you've had, all those skills that you needed that you didn't know you were going to need have helped you be here where you are right now. Exactly.
We have so many different fun sayings here at L'Oreal. And one of my favorite one is, and I'm going to butcher it. It's not how it goes, but it basically equates to jumping out of the plane and building the parachute on the way down.
Ooh, that's good. Jumping out of the plane and building the parachute on the way down. Because oftentimes, and I always say it like this, it's so funny because as soon as you said that, what came in my mind is I always say, it's like placing your order. When I go to McDonald's on a cheat day, don't y'all judge me because I do still go to McDonald's. So on a cheat day, when I go to McDonald's and order my filet of fish, when I go to the drive-up window, I don't say, do y'all have filet of fish today? Do you have a special sauce? Do you have the cheese that I'm not supposed to eat, but I want it?
Order.
Right.
You just order.
And then you go to the window and you get it. And that's the same thing. Jump out of the plane and stop trying to figure out, do you already have it? Build
trust yourself.
Yes.
Trust yourself. Right.
Yes.
And so what that looks like now is the Cecilia now says yes way more than maybe, and definitely way more than no. I say yes, and I'm gonna figure it out.
Yes.
And so if this opportunity is for me, it will, everything that I need. One, I probably have it already, or it will be presented. And it is so amazing when you remain in a posture of openness, how, things just start to come. When you make a declaration that I want to do this and I want to be in service and I want to teach, suddenly you're being asked. And so, great that you can be paid, right? So the end goal is if you can be compensated, but also great is for you to get the exposure.
Yeah.
And the second I made the declaration that I wanted to do more public speaking, I've been approached from, somebody who sits on a board with me, who's I think he's a lawyer, right? He's also an adjunct professor at a college. And he was like, Cecilia, would you want to come and speak to my students about your career? And I'm like, oh, that's easy.
Right.
And so and that's me getting more of that practice, more of the storytelling, more of the connection.
Right.
But it also is in line with my passion to continue to educate Black and Brown students.
Yes, that's so good. Well, listen, Cecilia, you and I can go talk for the next 3 hours. You have given us, y'all don't even know, but you have given us so much. Again, I think the biggest takeaway for me is being open to possibilities, being open to what's possible when you allow yourself to not have to know that you could figure it out along the way. So thank you, Cecilia, for not just figuring it out. Look, thank you for not just figuring it out, but for being willing to share your journey, that you don't have it all figured out, but you know that you're smart enough to figure it out.
Exactly. And more importantly, I might know the person who has the answer. I might not be the person with the answer, but best believe I'll get you the answer by the end of the day.
I know that's right. Well, thank you so much, Miss Cecilia. I appreciate you.
This has been great.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Amplify Your Brilliance. Now, I want you to walk away from these sessions with value, so answer either one or all three of these questions. Number one, what was your greatest takeaway? Number two, what will you do different as a result of what you heard? See, you may have heard something you've already heard, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different as a result of what you heard. Number three, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you. Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So I want you to share with us something that showed you that you're on the right path. Now again, share. Share either answer number one, what was your greatest takeaway? Number two, what will you do different? Or number three, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. Go to thebrilliancetribe.com and use the hashtag Amplify Your Brilliance. See, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into this community to deepen our journey with being the answer somebody needs and being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and amplify.